Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah Mallett, and I am going to be doing my presentation for you guys today on tips, tricks, and procedures when conducting a student-teacher writing conference. I will go ahead and let you all know that this will be more based on middle school writing conferences, just because that is the age group that I teach and where I will be furthering my career as an educator. So, first thing I'm going to go over is our learning objectives for today, and that is the learner will be able to describe benefits of a writing conference. The learner will understand how to set up and prepare for a writing conference, and the learner will be able to use and apply proper steps and procedures when conferencing with their own students. I will be going and doing some modeling throughout my presentation today, as if I was the teacher, either asking the students some questions or different things like that, so you can kind of see through learning activities and different things kind of how that conversation would flow. I do want to start out today by asking all of you, why is it important to hold student writing conferences? And I'll give you a few seconds to think about this. So while I know that you all thought of fantastic reasons why we student conference, of course every student is going to be different. Every writer is definitely going to be different. And so this is a time for you to hone in on specific students at their specific skill level. We are constantly differentiating throughout our classroom activities as a whole group, and so this is an awesome time for you to build that relationship and work one-on-one with that student to help them succeed in the classroom. So what are writing conferences and who needs a conference? I will go ahead and answer the second question for you by saying every one of your students needs a writing conference. Yes, you will have some students who may be better writers than other students, but that doesn't mean that they get to skip out on the conference with you. Conferences are a great way for you to get to know your students, maybe what they like, what interests them, and so you can kind of hone in on their skill sets, their better ways of doing things that might work for them that doesn't work for other kids, different things like that. Writing conferences, as described by research, is a one-on-one direct strategy designed to guide and assist students through the process of writing. The primary purpose of writing conferences is to help unlock potential of the student writer and also kind of let them know what that potential is. So when students are writing, they might not know that something is really great or they're doing really awesome at something, and that's kind of your job to unlock that potential within that student. Research shows that using individualized teaching, introspective questioning, and clear instructions is a way for your students to gain better understanding of their writing and the writing process. So especially through middle school, as research shows, their attention spans don't last very long, and so giving them specific instruction, specific direction is a great way to help them increase their learning ability, their writing ability in such a short amount of time. Donald Graves, who's considered to be the father of the process of the writing approach, states that writing conferences help students teach you about what they know so that you can help them more effectively with their writing. And I think that that quote is an awesome quote by him, because what better way to let a student know what they know, and to let a student let you know what they're doing great at and what you might not need to go over with them that you have to go over with other students. They also are awesome, have some awesome benefits to them as far as providing immediate feedback. So you are reading an essay either with that student or before you meet with them, and then giving that immediate feedback, so when they go back to individualized working while you're meeting with other students, they can kind of hone in on that very quickly and get it done. It creates positive attitude with students towards writing. So not all students are going to love writing, and that's okay. But it is your job to kind of motivate them and give them that positive feedback, so that they feel confident in writing, so that it can motivate them to do very well in their work. It structures the teaching process around a student's skill level and understanding. So like I said previously before, this is your chance to really hone in with that specific student and work at that specific student's skill level, and also kind of help them go up maybe a skill level or have better understanding of a topic to describe certain to that specific student. And then it addresses and improves the writing skills and overall process of writing. So steps for helping your student writers. Number one, you want to prepare yourself for these student writing conferences, but also prepare your students. In middle school specifically, this might be their first time doing a writing conference with a teacher. And so this is kind of your way of introducing what a writing conference is, expectation during a writing conference, how long they're going to last, what you're going to go over, and then also give them time to ask questions. You know, middle schoolers are curious, they're going to ask, but that's your job to kind of be an expert on, this is your writing conference, your way of doing things, and so you should be a pro at answering the questions of how you want these conferences to go. Not all of them are going to go the same. Not all of them are going to be the same, but how you structure them and prepare for them will be. And then writing goals. As a writing teacher, I think it's really awesome that at the beginning of the year or beginning of the semester, you let your students choose their goals for writing for that semester. Most of your students will know what they're good at, what they need to work on. And so if you have them write their goals in that first writing conference, you can go over them, make sure they're reachable, obtainable, and they're really good for that student. And then they can work on that throughout the year as well. And it's something for you to kind of check in on them with, make sure they're doing very well. It kind of sparks conversation at the beginning of that conference as well. How to prepare for student writing conferences. So this is really awesome for first-year teachers, especially when they may be their first conference. Getting organized. That's kind of the one thing in research suggests for everyone is to get organized. And so I know for me, I have a conference schedule, and I think that that's very helpful for all teachers to do a conference schedule. You may have 35 kids, 25 kids in your class, I don't know, but you can't meet with all of them in one day, and that's okay. But you can meet with all of them throughout the week or even 2 weeks. And so you list that date. And I also have an example up here of Jane Doe's writing conference, the date you met with them, accomplishments that you went over, the goals for the next meeting, or this could even be their goals for the year. And then your comments and feedback on what you may need to go over in the next writing conference, what you did in this conference, kind of to boost some questions. Also, I know I stated earlier about middle school's attention spans. So your writing conferences, you want to keep them to about 3 to 5 minutes. I know a lot of people say, how can I get this done in 5 minutes? But it's easy. Be specific of what you want to go over. Make sure you know going into that conference what you want to talk about with that student, and it's very easy. And I'll kind of explain that throughout as I model a conference for you a little later on the teacher side of things. What happens during a student-teacher conference? So in one of the articles that I read, it gave this really awesome word scramble of what words people associate or what actions may even associate with a writing conference. And so words like conversation, encouragement, student-led, different things like that. Also, there were 3 words that popped up in a lot of research, and that was observe, compliment, and teach. Observing is you reading that paper of your student, or you observing that student reading his paper back to you. Compliment them on what they've done well. Give them praise where praise is deserved. I know everybody loves it, but of course writers love it too. And then teach. So if you're going over main ideas, if I'm going over main ideas with a student, I may say, Jane, this is an awesome way that you've kind of done transition sentences here. I love how you transition so smoothly through your next paragraphs and different things like that, but I do notice that you use the word although a lot. So what other word is a synonym for although that we can plug into our transition sentences here? And then she would answer, and that's an awesome way for you to teach and model that for her so that when she's writing, she'll know that maybe a different word could be used throughout. Procedures during a writing conference. So you always want to make sure that you welcome your student, of course. So I would say, hi Jane, how are you doing today? She would give me an answer. I would make sure that I sit next to her or him, whoever it may be. That way I'm not towering over them. It can make them feel infuriated. But let the student first lead the conversation. So if I was doing a writing conference, I would ask, what are you writing about today? Or what are you struggling with on your writing prompt? How can I help you? Let that student kind of go over their frustrations, what they're doing with, how they're doing, how they're feeling, and different things like that. It also kind of gives them a confidence boost. So if a student says, I'm not doing very well with coming up with a topic, and then you would offer praise. Well, I know that you have really enjoyed learning about space this week. What if we wrote something about that? Giving praise and encouragement where it is offered. And then encourage them to ask you questions and be concerned if they're not asking you questions. I know this comes up a lot in research and things. Always ask the students how you can help them. And then you want to also, in each conference, be focused on what needs to be worked on and appropriate for the writing. So for example, if I was working with Jane on developing ideas or fully clarifying her main point, I'm going to stay focused on that. I know as an English teacher it can be hard and people want to constantly get sidetracked by grammar problems, punctuation, word choice, different things like that. But that is something that you want to make sure can be done in the editing process of a paper, whereas this conference is kind of coming up. So, Jane, how can I help you come up with a topic today? Maybe we can make a list about topics that you're passionate about. So if we're writing a persuasive essay, I would say, Jane, what's something that you're really passionate about or something that you feel one way about? And she may say, oh, I really feel like everyone should go for a jog at least once a day. Or I feel really strongly that students should wear school uniforms. We can work with that, and that's a topic we can work with, and then we can start brainstorming and listing in that writing conference. Um, like I said, just making sure that you lead them, construct them, but also teach them. While you're teaching them, you can also learn a lot from them and they can teach you. Writing conferences are not meant to be scary. They're not meant to be stressful. They are meant to help your writer see their potential as a writer. I hope that you guys enjoy this presentation. I hope it kind of helped you figure out some tips, tricks, and procedures you can use in your next writing conference. I know mine go pretty well, and the students love to tell me what they're writing about, but they also love that I hone in on certain things and get the job done while we're in there. So just have a great evening. I hope that this was very helpful. And yeah, I will talk to you guys later.